Shelly, it is getting so cold outside.
Oh, it is. It is.
I wish we had a bowl of warm soup or stew or something.
Oh, that sounds so good. You know what, April? I was at the grocery store here a while back, and I ran into my neighbor, and he was going hunting. And I was thinking, oh, wouldn't some yummy venison be good right now?
Oh, that does sound really good. You know, canning, when you can meats, you can can everything from beef to pork and lamb and venison. There's a lot of different meats that you can use, but you do have to can with a pressure canner. This is not a food that you can can with a water bath canner. Meats are a low acid food and they require a pressure canner.
And because of that, they're low acid food. They can grow bacteria and things of that nature. Is that right?
That's correct. So you must can low acid foods, which is basically all meats or any vegetables except tomatoes, in a pressure canner.
Okay, well that sounds great.
Let's show everybody how to do it today.
That sounds fun to me.
Hi, I'm April Martin with UT Extension in DeKalb County.
And I'm Shelly Barnes with UT Extension in Wilson County.
And before we get started today, take just a second, go down to the button below, subscribe, and give us a like so that you can see more of these great videos. Well, let's get started, Shelly.
Let's go. The items that you'll need today is your desired amount of meat. And in this recipe, you can use bear, beef, lamb, pork, veal, or venison. This is cubed pork. You'll also need some type of meat broth. Just to make it a little easy, we've used store-bought beef broth. You'll also need a knife and a cutting board if you're going to cube the meat on your own. We did buy this at a local grocer who has a great meat department, and they were able to cube it for us. So we just need to trim off a little bit of the fat. You'll also need a jar lifter. You'll need a spatula to get those air bubbles out. You'll need a lid lifter. You'll need some clean mason top canning jars with a 2-piece lid system, a canning funnel, and a ladle. If you think you need a little bit of oil, you can go ahead and do that, or you can also just put a little bit of water in the pan. What we're going to do is we're going to put the cubed meat in this pan, and then we're going to cook it until it's medium rare. And don't forget to simmer your lids for your canning jars.
So now we're ready to pack our jars. We're going to be using the hot pack method. You can do the raw pack method, but the hot pack is more desirable. You'll get a better result. Now you don't want to go completely to the top. You do want a 1-inch headspace in the jar. We are going to pack it. And you're going to add your beef broth. You can also use water as well. I just feel like we're going to get a little bit more flavor with the broth. And again, you want this to come to about 1 inch from the top. It's also a good idea to take a spatula and go around the corners or the edges of your jar just to release any air bubbles. And now we're ready to take our rubber lids. First, forgot one thing. We want to take a wet paper towel, wipe the tops, just so we make sure we get a good seal. Now we're ready for our rubber lids and our screw bands. You want to just have it finger tight. Not real tight, just finger tight. Okay. Now the next step is to put our jars down into a pressure canner. We are using a pressure canner, not a water bath canner today. Now in a pressure canner you will need to fill the water up to about 3 inches. Once the pressure canner starts having once the canner starts producing a funnel-looking steam, funnel-shaped steam coming out of the top of the pressure canner, you're going to wait 10 minutes. It's important to depressurize the canner, and that takes 10 minutes. Now you're not going to begin counting your time until your weight on the top of the pressure canner begins to jiggle back and forth, and that's when you'll start the processing time. We're using 11 pounds on the weighted gauge here. Once our weighted gauge begins to lightly jiggle, we're going to start our time counting to 75 minutes. Depressurization of older canner models without a dial gauge should be timed. Standard size heavy walled canners require about 30 minutes when loaded with pints and 45 minutes when loaded with quarts. When the timed process is completed, turn off the heat and remove the canner from the heat if possible, and let the canner cool down naturally. Do not try to cool the canner while it's cooling. While the canner is cooling down, it is also depressurizing, and again, you do not want to force the canner to cool down by running water over it or putting wet towels or anything like that. You also need to wait after the depressurizing. You need to let 10 minutes go by before opening the lid. Open the lid away from your face so you can avoid getting hurt by the steam. Well, Shelly, we finally got them all finished.
We did. They look so great. Smells so good.
I can smell that. That's going to make a really delicious dish. What are you planning to make?
Well, I'll tell you what, this summer I went to the Macon County Fair to judge their food preservation. And one of the ladies had entered, and she told me all about this recipe that she uses. So we just open the jar up, put it in the skillet, let it get good and done, and you make some biscuits and gravy to go with it. It's delicious.
Oh, that does sound really good. So don't forget, again, we did pressure canning today with meats, which is a low acid foods, and you must use a pressure canner. Don't forget to subscribe below. We're going to put the instructions to this down in the comments so that you can learn how to do this at home. And you know, Shelly, I don't guess we're going to see each other for a while, are we?
I guess it'll be a little bit, won't it?
Maybe we've got a new project coming up though, right?
We do. Living Well with April and Shelly. It's going to be a fun one.
I can't wait. You know, we're going to be doing topics such as money management tips, topics for the family, nutrition, fitness, all different topics related to the family.
Everything about family consumer sciences, which is what we do, right, April?
Exactly. So just be on the lookout for that. That's going to start in January, and we're going to be posting that, and we'll see you soon.
See you next time.